This is not going to be an easy video. I have tried to make this video not once, not twice, but 5 times. And I just end up crying halfway through it. And there's a possibility I might be crying again. So bear with me. I have recently kind of spoken to a person, um, and they've asked me a couple things and kind of mentioned a few things to me about how they used to watch my podcast and asked me a question that I don't know why it sunk in more when this individual asked me, but it it was the straw that broke the camel's back. And more so, it was like, so what are you currently working on, and what are you working towards? And like my career, basically, like what am I doing? And I sat there and I was like, damn, I'm really not doing too much, you know? And it's like every time I think about my studio and stuff like that, yeah, that is a big accomplishment. It's to open your own business, open your studio. But like I feel like I jumped in. So the whole purpose was like I made my studio basically so I would have some type of work experience under my belt and maybe publish something before I graduated, which that wasn't the case. I still haven't pushed anything out. College is over. But I just feel like with the certain dynamics that I have within my life right now, that I couldn't juggle it. And I feel like I failed everybody because I went the path of building transparently so it can build credibility for myself as a designer, as a developer, and as a studio for Muraco. And that's not how it went. I was juggling multiple projects because the my own little quirks bled into my work. So I kind of like started thinking like more of a business mindset than this could be a hobby turn, big. I didn't come from the mindset of like, do I enjoy this? I came from the mindset of like, these are the connections I have. These people can help me push. These are my resources. This is my crowd research. I can build this because I have people here. And and then the more and more I started working on some of these projects, the more and more like I was like, I'm just not happy. This is not what I wanted. I'm trying to like, in a weird way, people please or find the self validation in myself. And hell, I recently mentioned this to one of my friends when I was talking to her. I was like, man, people seek validation and self gratification, quick self gratification these days, and here I am, and I'm doing it like an idiot. And trust me, like I wasn't trying to like build revenue or anything. I just wanted to be a little bit more well known for my craft. And I felt like because most jobs might not take me if I'm in college, that I would just, forge my own path until then. So for those who don't know, I was an encounter intern designer at Blizzard in 2022, and it was one of the biggest highlights I would say in my career, as it was the humbling part of it. So it's like, as much as I'm self-taught and everything, I sat here and thought to myself, like, I know a good bit, I know a good bit. And then going into that space, I was like, no, no, I don't. um, I am a better designer from that experience. Like, if you compare my homework from like before I got Blizzard as an intern to now, like my documentation, my I'm dyslexic, guys, bear with me. Implementation, my overall like paper design, my technical writing skills, my troubleshooting skills, my QA, my UX, like everything, like my whole scope is so different. That creep scope though, that's something I feel like all of us when we first get in this industry and we first get started, it always haunts us. I feel like that's just like the final boss to break, and once you get the hang of that, you're pretty much like invincible. And I'm, starting my studio and stuff like that has humbled me in that regard. I've learned a lot through Gentle Land. I've learned a lot through people who have gave me advice and other developers and other solo devs that have done it. And personally, I made a decision to dissolve Muraco Studio because with my current health problems and juggling, it's just too much in my life. It's just genuinely too much, and it's also a financial burden on me at this point in time. And I feel like I kind of did the Uno reverse card. I kind of did like, you know, like the retirement designer's dream. Like most designers retire and make their own studio type of guy. Like, and for me, I did it backwards. I didn't get the other like, you know, 20 years of bouncing around and being nomadic and being a designer on different IPs experience. I didn't. And running a studio and being a CEO is extremely hard. It's a lot harder than it looks. Like I'm sitting here saying I'd rather wear one cap that says designer than have CEO. And the thing that bothers me the most is I feel like I let a lot of people down because of building transparently, and those who, when I started working in the team and I was a leader, I'm not gonna lie, there were these people, these individuals believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I just feel like I let them down because what they created for me is not gonna probably be on a shelf. And I have to explain that. Now, I paid all my artists that worked with me in full. All their work they've done for me, they are completely paid because I was not about to not pay my fucking artist and not have something off the shelf. And they believed in me more than I believed in myself. And I don't know. It just it sucks because it's like I you create something and it doesn't come to shelf, and it's more so it's like I feel like yeah I programmed sure whatever, but like they had a really big fundamental part in it, and now they might not be able to see their creations, and that sucks. And I know there's a lot of developers that follow me and people who've owned their own studios and stuff like that that probably have, you know, a graveyard of ideas and concepts. I know I'm not the only one. I think every single designer that follows me, hell, I wouldn't even just argue designer. There's people who are not designers that have really awesome ideas and are too scared to take that jump and leap into this industry. And don't get me wrong, I understand why. Opening LinkedIn and Twitter to layoffs and stuff like that is not something you really want to look at. It is extremely discouraging. And not to mention the controversy on a lot of studios. Like, I get it. But I just feel like I failed. But at the same time, I've also learned a lot. And this was not an easy decision to make. This was a decision that I kind of teeter-tottered back and forth. And up until recently, as of like yesterday, I'm not even gonna lie, it was like relatively like straw that broke the camel's back was when I was asked, like, so what do you do with your career? I see that you dabble in a bunch of different areas. And that's true. I want to settle down and focus on one because it's kind of hard to make a career if I'm literally toe dipping in everything else. Um, and with my health and things like that, I do not want to be having other exterior areas of stress coming in. Um, and I think this was probably the best decision and the healthiest decision for me at this current time. I'm not saying Morocco City is fully shut down or whatever, but I do think if I ever did bring it back, it might be for one or two games. Um, there are going to be probably more smaller projects and maybe any like books or something I publish, I'll publish under them as well, under my LLC. But I'm trying not to cry because it sucks because it's like I put a lot of energy and time into this and I do feel like I failed. But I learned a lot and I really love this headset. Um, I rather learn now at 28 years old than sit here at 50 and learn this mistake, you know? So for me, it was kind of like the breaking point is like, what do I have to show for my life? I'm 28 years old and I feel like I haven't created anything, and it sucks. Now, I've collabed on projects, but I want something that's my baby or something that, you know, I feel passionate about doing. Most of the time, it's just a favor for a friend, and that's fine. Like, I love helping my friends out. Like I said, we don't gatekeep knowledge here. I'm not going to gatekeep anything. If you need help, I'll tell you how to do it, or I'll help you. Or I'll give you, or I'll find a contact or send a tweet out, some way to help you. Um, but this is making this video is a lot of weight off my chest because now I can really be realistic and be vulnerable and just be upfront and be transparent with everything. And now everybody in my audience is gonna know I'm a big ass crybaby. I'm a very emotional person, believe it or not. I don't seem like it, but I am. But I just also want to highlight and tell everyone thank you for the support. Even those who haven't really followed my journey too far, but know a good bit of what's going on, I appreciate you. And I don't always respond to everything, but I do see you guys, and I do really appreciate you. But basically, the summary of this video is to give yourself grace, allow yourself time to get to know yourself. This doesn't even just go for like game development or anything. This can be applied to your relationships in life. You know the term where they say fully heal before you go into a relationship? I believe in that because I feel like there were a lot of my quirks that I brought into my studio, brought into my work, and brought into my career path were also from that. Making different choices and investing in different things that kind of led me down this road, and also contributed to a little bit of health decline. For those who don't know, I had a heart condition and I was being evaluated for open heart surgery. A little brief update here. I didn't take it. I chose not to go through with it. I chose that I truly believe, and I sat here and prayed and prayed and prayed that if I can get my life together and control the stress volumes, I'll be fine. I do not need open heart surgery. I mean, that's very terrifying, believe it or not, because I had nightmares that I was gonna die. So that's a really big influence on the decisions that I'm making here right now with my studio. For those who don't know, I had 2 heart attacks last year and 4 concussions. The concussions were because of my vertigo, because stress triggers. And I would collapse and typically hit my head. 2 of the times were on my sink in the bathroom. I made a joke about it when I got home from the hospital to my boss. I was like, yeah, I had butted the sink again. She's like, that's not okay. You shouldn't be joking about that. But give yourself grace. Allow yourself time to heal. Pray, 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 pray. And if you don't believe in that, then for the love of God, have faith in yourself. Don't talk yourself out of things like I do. Don't do it. Don't. And before you commit to anything, weigh your pros and cons and look at the bigger picture. Look at it day by day and look at the bigger picture. And see exactly what you're sacrificing for it. For me, it was I couldn't dedicate enough time for it. Will I still be working on my personal projects? Yes. But this time, they're probably not going to be under Muraco Studio. You're probably going to see them in a portfolio. So, you'll be like, oh, that's cool. That's what she was working on. Because I might just take it and slap it in a portfolio. But I think that's pretty much majority of what I have to say. Like I said, I'm at work currently making this video and trying not to cry. But just a huge thank you to everyone that's ever supported me and has still continued to support me and will continue to support me. I kind of just wanted to like be realistic and be raw and just be vulnerable with everybody and just straight up tell people what's going on. And for those who are thinking about starting a studio, it's a lot harder than it looks. And I typically probably should suggest that you have something like an IP that's already like 20-minute demo, MVP type stage, and you have some investors or have some type of crowdfunding going, and use those crowdfunds to fund your LLC. That's something that I didn't do that I think would be beneficial, or getting a grant to even start that. So yeah, but thank you guys for listening and hearing me out. This is like take number 6 of this, but I promise that I will eventually develop something, and it will be playable. And if anything, it might be something roguelike, single player platformer ass thing. It might not be something extravagant or like a larger project, but it will be something small, and it will be $2. I do not genuinely, if I make a small game, I am not going to charge more than like $10 for it. That's crazy. But anyways, I am going to be starting a little bit. See, look at me. I'm already going to start rambling if I don't get off here, and I probably will not be able to finish my work. So, for that, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week. and you probably will see some other tweet from me later on, and that I will probably see you guys in a stream, because I am going to come back to streaming. I am going to try to stream at least once or twice a week for you guys. But until then, happy hunting.